My name's Michael Heyward and I'm in the zone because I think we need to have a debate in Australia about how we read, how we think about not just the new books that come out every year, and there are so many of those, but also our literary heritage. I think over time we've neglected some of the great books that we have in Australia. Not just great books, but great writers. And I think of writers like Thea Astley or Sumner Locke-Elliott, whose works are, for instance, almost entirely out of print, if not entirely out of print. I could go on with a long list of names of writers who, in their day, were really central to literary debate in this country, but now, for a whole range of reasons, not so much are no longer read, but it's really difficult to get hold of their books. Many of their books you won't find in new bookstores, and many of them aren't taught at universities. I think that Australian studies at universities are under the pump. I think they've suffered over a period of 10 or 20 years, and for a lot of students it's a problem because they may not have access to the kind of reading of their own literary culture when they're undergraduates that perhaps they should have. In this state, the National Gallery of Victoria started collecting Australian art in about 1860, very soon after it was founded. Yet we didn't really start teaching Australian literature in our universities until after the war. So the tradition is not very old, and I think it tends to be haphazard. On the other hand, I think a lot of great books have gone out of print because publishers haven't made that extra effort to keep them in print. David Ireland, for instance, who won the Miles Franklin 3 times, is now entirely out of print. And I think we have to have this debate now because the way that we read is changing very dramatically. Publishing is increasingly becoming a digital activity, and we're entering a world of the virtual availability of everything. Well, it won't be everything unless we get Australian books on the agenda. So I think when Australians decide that they want a Kindle or an iPad and they want to read books in that form, they need to have access to the literature of their own country. I think now's the time to have this debate.